Hello, my name is Salome Treza. I'm the Ph.D. student of Georgian American University, and with this presentation, I'm passing my final exam in teaching methodology. The task of the exam is to create a professor's personal brand. Honestly, when I received the task and got the instruction how to work on the exam test, I found that really interesting. The task allowed me to think a bit deeper about my profession, about my work, about me as the future lecturer, and I tried to answer the main questions. Who am I and what do I want to achieve? So here we go, my personal brand. How I see teaching. Teaching is helping people find themselves out, feel freedom, and make them think different. In the 21st century, it is very important to be creative, innovative, and to be able to use theoretical knowledge in practice. So, to my mind, the number one aim of any teacher or lecturer must be to give the correct directions to the students, to help them feel free, to help them think different, think about the real life problems, and help them find the real solutions. How to do that? I would like to share my experience, how I see to how to achieve the aims mentioned above. Number one is to involve your students. Involve them in the real practical tasks. Why do we give the theoretical knowledge to students? Everybody needs the real cases, the real life practical experience. Everybody needs to use theory in practice. In that case, when we ask our students to be involved, when we prepare for them student-oriented activities where they can make something on their own, think on their own, create on their own, and when they are involved, they remember, understand, and realize much better. So, recipe number one is involvement of students in the real practical exercises. Number two, in In the 21st century, while we were faced with the real problem of pandemic situation and education in pandemic, we should have experienced adaptation. Adapt easily to any environment. It is super important for every person and especially for a teacher or for a lecturer who gives the direction to students. While we were working in the class with different groups of students, just one day, boom, and we had to switch to the computers, switch to the online lifestyle, not to see the faces of our students at all, and have a lesson, have the same type of the lesson, have the same motivation, encourage the students in the same way, even not even in more. And that was really difficult, but our aim was to adapt. And in that case, we all had to deal with this challenge appropriately to survive and to survive the generation. So adaptation to any environment, it doesn't matter what kind of environment it is, we should be able to do that. It is very important. Also, it's not only about the teachers, but also about the students. We teachers or professors should give the correct direction, should teach our students how to adapt to any kind of environment. Students need to realize that they will have different kinds of life. They will have different situations, different cases. Some of them will be really difficult to deal with. Some of them will be fun, easy, and happy. And they need to stay humans. They need to stay positive in any situation. They need to be strong. They need to adapt. In that case, we should show ourselves, we should show our professionalism, how we adapt easily to any environment. Recipe number 3, make think and make feel free. Unfortunately, even today, there are a lot of situations and cases when students are shy to share their experiences and their thoughts and ideas. Unfortunately, there are even some teachers and professors who do not allow students to say what they think. To my mind, in the 21st century, we need to be much creative, much more innovative. And it is super important not to give the theory only, but to make the people think about the theory, to make the people think what they really need in their life. To give the instructions not only in the way that the students must do that, but make them think why they need to do that. And of course, make feel free them. Make students feel free, otherwise they won't be able to be open to each other, to be open in life when they will need to deal with some situations. They need to understand what they are and what they want to achieve. If we do not create our lessons in or lectures in that way that they think, they feel free, we won't get creative, innovative, and smart generation. If I were asked to associate myself with any animal, I would choose maybe a lion. Why? Maybe because I'm very independent. Since I was 16 years old, I tried to have a very independent lifestyle, to make the right decisions, to make a lot of mistakes and learn on those mistakes, to deal with the challenges. And there were a lot of challenges which I tried to deal appropriately. Also, like a lion, I'm responsible for myself and people around me. I always try to be the leader because I see that and I feel that people sometimes need me and I need to do something for them. If I were asked to compare myself with nature or season or any period, maybe I would choose late spring or summer and the sea. Well, why sea and spring and summer? Maybe because I'm really calm. I always try to stay positive, like positive and warm days of late spring or summer, like calm sea wave. But when necessary, when needed, I can be even tsunami. That's why I think that I mostly associate myself with the sea. That is really interesting why I associate myself with the digital book. Well, digital book is something that is very comfortable to use. To my mind, you can use the digital book wherever you are, whenever you want. You can turn it on whenever you want, turn it off when you want, and so on. In the 21st century, I think that it's very important to be adaptable to the new environment and to be very fast and very smart. Actually, that is why I associate myself with the digital book. I think I'm really good at adaptation to different kinds of environment. And I'm really flexible in that case. As for the plant or flower, I would associate myself with violent, maybe because of loving love. Actually, love is what makes me live, what makes me feel happy, what makes me do my job as I do it. So I think that this is what makes people actually feel good and makes people do their job well. Not to speak only about some general ideas, I would like to give you some statistics about my profession, about my job. So, besides being a manager, I have 13 years of teaching experience in different countries, in the United States, in Russia, in Great Britain. I have 7 high school successful graduations, 100% university entry of my students, 10 students studying abroad in Europe and in the top universities of the United States, and 26 successful Cambridge exam certificates for my students. That is the International IELTS TOEFL FC exams. Besides that, me as a manager, according to the statistics, I'm the International Lead Auditor of Occupational Health and Safety, International Internal Auditor of Quality Management Standards and Systems, CEO of European School of Business, and have conducted 6 successful management trainings. Using Dale's pyramid, I tried to ask myself as a teacher, step by step, who am I? What do I want to achieve? And how am I going to achieve? Let's start with the first tab that is called environment. What kind of environment I have for my students? Well, I organize as indoor as outdoor classes. Definitely, I have the lessons in the classroom, but out of the classroom as well. For example, in the cafe or in the garden, in nature. I would say that it depends on students' mood. It depends on their character, attitude, interests. That's really interesting that it sometimes when you enter the classroom, you realize that even though you have not planned to have the lesson outside of the classroom, you need to do that because you see that on the faces of your students. You see on the faces of your co-teacher, and you feel the atmosphere that the students need to go out somewhere else to see you as a teacher somewhere else outside of the classroom. So the environment can be absolutely different depending on the students' interests and their characters and moods. As for behaviors, that's interesting how I behave to achieve my aim as a teacher. Well, I think that's really important to allow students express their emotions and thoughts, share their experiences, and share their ideas freely with each other and with you as the teacher. I always try to be supportive. Students need to understand that you're not a person who directs them on something, but you're a person who is ready to help them, to support them, to understand them. I try to make students feel free mentally and physically. And it's very important to give them the accurate feedback. They need to realize that your feedback will teach them something, and your feedback, as a teacher's feedback, is not something to punish them. They need to have a feeling of waiting for your feedback, as far as the feedback will teach them something new. Let's go to the third step capabilities. Well, in that case, I have four important steps. Number one is understanding students' needs and interests. If we do not do that, even though we're very high qualified teachers or professors or lecturers, we will never have student-oriented lesson. They will never go deep and love the subject you teach. We should definitely assess students' strengths and weaknesses to plan the lessons or the lectures appropriately. And according to that, we should have the individual approach when needed. And number four, the most important thing is life skills teaching. Use theory in practice, because nobody needs only theory. In the 21st century, everybody needs knowledge to use that in real life and in real practice. Step number four of our pyramid is belief. I believe that nothing is impossible. I want my students to believe that nothing is impossible. Every year, when I enter the new class, this is the first sentence I tell my students. Nothing is impossible. Never give up. We will do everything to achieve our aim. And number two belief is that there are no bad students. We just need to find the correct approach and attitude towards our students. Step number five, identity. Who am I? Well, I think that I can achieve a lot, but I need a big effort for them. For achieving something, I always need to work very hard. I never get something easily. I try to keep positive and to stay positive always. It doesn't matter what happens. If there is something negative, I always tell myself, "Come on, keep calm. Even in this negative thing, there is something positive. Just try to think about it a bit deeper." And very, very important is time and freedom. Time and freedom are the most precious things for me. So when I ask myself, who am I tell myself, you're a person who wants to achieve a lot in her life, but never forget that you should stay free and you should never waste your time. And finally, the mission. What is my mission? My mission is to be part of something big, part of something serious that will help me help other people. This is one of the most important things what makes me happy, to realize that I can do something for others. I can help people. And another thing is stay forever. Maybe it sounds a bit strange or weird, but I do want to believe that I can do something that will help me stay forever in people's minds. Of course, in the positive and in the kind way, that people will remember me, and I won't be just a person who just worked earned money, went to work, and then from work home. I want to do something big that will make me feel happy because I can help people. I can give them education. I can create new educational system. I can do something innovative for educational system that will help other teachers, other educational managers do their job much better. If I were asked to choose my teaching style, I would create my own one, and I wouldn't choose anything that already exists. For example, the American Success or Scandinavian Simplicity or French Bohemia, which I was offered at the exam. I would create my own style and I would call it FUIP style or FUIP style. So my teaching style is FUIP style, and there you can see the logo of my FUIP style teaching. What is it, FUIP? FUIP style stands for free teaching, unique teaching, independent teaching, and practical teaching. If we discuss all these four styles, free teaching is to create a free environment where students are able to express their thoughts and ideas, where they can discuss the real problems and help each other to find the real solutions. Unique. Unique teaching is using different methods, create interactive lessons or lectures. Students should feel teacher or lecturer makes an effort to prepare the lesson or lecture. It's very important when students see that you as a teacher or you as a professor, you prepared something for them and you just do not come or enter the classroom because you are a good teacher and you do not need to prepare anything in advance. I'm pretty sure that for every audience, we need to prepare something in advance. It's important to know students' strengths, weaknesses, and needs and find the appropriate approach. In that way, we will be always able to have unique style of teaching. Independent teaching. Teach not what is right or wrong, but give the correct direction to help students make the right choice between the right and wrong. Do not dictate, but help find the correct way. Do not be a dictator of a student, what they need to do or what they do not need to do, but tell them how to think about what is good and what is bad, and help them to find themselves the right way. So in that case, you will, as a teacher or a professor, you will help your students to have independent skills in their life, independent skill of learning. That is very important. As far as our students, as far as all the people live their independent life, and they should be aware of their challenges, of their problems, and they should be able to achieve these problems and deal with these challenges independently. And finally, the letter P stands for practical teaching or learning, and we learn and teach because we want to be better at something. So what's the point learning something if we can't use it in practice? So go ahead, teach the real life skills, teach to use all in practice. Use the real life cases, projects, model simulations, whatever, but make your students understand that they need that in their real life and help your students use everything in practice. When you, as a teacher or as a lecturer, close the door because your lesson is finished, students must have the idea in their mind that, wow, we learned something new. And this wow must be something that they will use in their life. So let's answer the last question of my brand. What do I do as a teacher best of all? And what is my competitive advantage? Honestly, while thinking about this question, to summarize my presentation, it was really hard to find the answer. It is like I need to evaluate or speak about myself. And in that case, I found a quite simple decision and solution. I asked my students to speak about myself, to speak about me and to characterize me as a teacher. Also, I realized that I had a lot of nice papers, nice quotes from my students that they wanted to tell me, and I never threw away those papers and those quotes. I always saved them in one box. So I will tell you what they think about me that you can see also on my screen. So mostly they characterize me as a supportive teacher, as a calm teacher, friendly teacher, creative teacher, unique teacher. One was very interesting, unpredictable teacher. I loved one letter from one my high school student. She says, the influence of a good teacher can never be erased. While reading this, it came to my mind, wow, yes, even students understand how much important it is to be a good teacher. Because when a student finishes the school or when the students graduate from the university, you will always be in their mind. But the question is, how do you want to stay in their mind? As a person who made a bit in their life, or as a person, a teacher, or a professor who just did the job well? And my student writes, thank you for hard work and interesting and entertaining lessons during the whole year and these hard days. I was really grateful when my high school students gave me the nomination of the most innovative teacher of the year. Well, it was really high feeling because while having the pandemic situation, while having the crisis in educational system, in management, while you need to deal with a lot of difficult cases, in that case, in that way, you get the nomination of the most innovative teacher. That means that you did something, and it gives you much more motivation to continue better. So, to sum up, go ahead and never give up. You can always achieve what you want to achieve. Be creative. Do not copy-paste others. Create your own one. Be innovative. Feel free. Remember that freedom is the most precious thing that you can ever have in your life. And finally, use your time. Life is too short for bad things. Try to be positive, try to be happy, and try to do big, big things.